With the reopening of China post-COVID, with 144-hour visa-free transit, and now recently with more visa-free travel from a variety of countries to China, more and more influencers and vloggers are coming to China and they are declaring, wow, China is not at all what I expected. Some of these videos are going viral and they are getting millions of views. And look, let's be real, I'm not gonna lie, I have personally contributed to quite a number of those high view counts simply by clicking on these videos with their nonsense clickbait titles, their crazy YouTuber face thumbnails. And I've been part of the problem. I've been watching these videos. And again, I'm not gonna lie, I have enjoyed quite a few of these videos. I really do think that it can be quite fascinating to see what people think of China. You can never come back to China, or anywhere for that matter, for the first time. And my first time in China was over 12 years ago now. And it's even hard for me to even remember what that was actually like. But if you do want to hear about that, I did do an interview on another channel recently, so you can check that out. The link's in the description. So with that being said, I do want to kind of give, I guess, my thoughts on some of these videos and what I've seen and what I think about some of them. So I also want to give a little bit of advice for future vloggers or influencers or just travelers who are coming to China. I've been living in China for 12 years. I know a little bit. I'm not an expert, but I do know a little bit, and I've been to every province in China. I've done it all basically. I also want to share a little bit of my thoughts on where potential vloggers or travelers should go when they're in China that are maybe not just what the current crop of YouTubers are coming and seeing. Additionally, if you have been watching these YouTubers and you've kind of decided that now you want to see China-based YouTube content, I do have a couple of channels I want to recommend to you at the end of this video that will give you a hopefully better understanding than what you're seeing from these big travel influencers who are coming. Something a little bit deeper than just the surface level that what you're getting from people who are on 144-hour transit visas, who just go to East Nanjing Road and just do the basic kind of tourist trail stuff. That's what this video is going to be today. Before we dive a little bit deeper, I do want to really be clear that everybody I reference in this video, I don't have anything against any of these people. I don't have anything against their content, generally speaking. I think it's entertaining. Like I said, I've watched a bunch of it. Not all of it, because there is tons of content coming out of these channels. It's wild. But I have seen a lot of it and I've been entertained by it. So it's nothing against them. I just want to be clear. And obviously don't go and leave nasty comments if for some reason you think that I would like defend my honor. Nothing like that, obviously. Thank God I don't have like a parasocial relationship with any fans. I don't even think I have fans, so that's great. I doubt people watch this video and go and harass people, but obviously don't do that. So I'm just going to comment on basically a few of these videos because I do think they're indicative of a general trend that I've been seeing from the vloggers who are coming to China for the first time and making this content. Now again, I haven't watched all of these videos, so I can't comment on everything. I may have missed some stuff that's a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more deep. And one other thing, I guess really before I get started, is this isn't just like sour grapes coming from like a failed YouTuber. That's me, obviously. I don't have like a big successful channel, but I'm not like jealous is what I'm trying to say. I think that I'm happy for all of these people's success. They make very different content from what I make. I'm not really a travel vlogger. I'm not really trying to make like clickbait thumbnails and titles. I'm not really trying to be what they are trying to be. So I know people will probably say, you're just jealous. Nip that in the bud. I don't care. I'm happy for these people's success. I'm happy that they're sharing China with the world. I think that's really a great thing. I'm just saying this as an old China hand, 中国通, and a viewer of this kind of content that I would hope I can see better content. I may be alone in this because, like I said, they're all going viral, getting lots and lots of views. So the primary reason I'm making this video today is almost entirely due to this comment here from the channel Jetlag Warriors and their review of China after visiting a few times in the past few months. The main girl on the channel, she commented that she really doesn't like Chinese food in China because it all tastes like Sichuan chili oil, essentially. Here, take a listen so I don't misrepresent what she said.
People are gonna hate me for saying this, but I'm not a fan of the Chinese food in China. You know that Szechuan pepper oil?
Yeah.
Every time we go out for Chinese food in Shanghai, Chongqing, they have that flavor, the oil flavor. You know what I mean? The Szechuan oil flavor. So different, although they are different dishes, everything started to taste the same because of the oil.
Again, it's not about that channel, Jetlag Warriors. It's not about her. This is just general observations from the videos that I have watched. People making these videos, these vlogs, seem to have not really done even the basic research about the place they're going to, especially when it comes to the food. And that's, I know a lot of people like to watch food videos. I like to watch people eat too. So when I see these people come into a place like Shanghai and have no idea about like what are the local flavors, what's the local specialties or delicacies, what do the locals eat, what's indicative of their style of food, I just kind of shake my head. I'm like, oh, why am I watching this? What am I doing here? Just based on the insane thumbnails alone, none of these vloggers, they really have much of any kind of knowledge of China prior to their arrival. They're like, oh, I didn't know China was like this. You'll never know. You never believe China was this way. I get it. But as people who have a really, really big audience, it seems to me that it would behoove them, yes, I did say behoove, it would behoove them to actually know a little bit about the place that they're traveling to. I think that, in my opinion, if they did know a little bit, they could make slightly better videos. Maybe. Again, I'm entertained by them, so maybe it's not that important really. But I personally would love to see like what makes Shanghai special. What is it about this place that is different or unique? I know that for a lot of Westerners, and I'm sure the vloggers and influencers included, they think of China, they think all of China is one homogenous place full of Chinese people who speak the same language, eat the same food, dress the same, look the same, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that's not the case. And when they come here, maybe they hopefully start to learn that and see that. But I do think that part of the reason why they just kind of show up to China, show up to Shanghai, and just kind of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick a random restaurant, random street food vendor, and just eat is because they don't really understand or even think about that. Like, actually, China is quite a diverse place with diverse foods and peoples. It might be in their best interest as like a traveler, not even as a content creator, but as like a traveler to a new place, to actually like try to understand the actual place that they're at. And one of the best ways to understand the place that they're at is by eating the food of the place that they're at, the local representative cuisines. So let's briefly go back to the Sichuan chili oil comment. Sichuan is a place, it's a province in China. There is Sichuan cuisine that is associated with that place. It's characterized by the oily, spicy, numbing food dishes like hot pot, mala tang, mala chuar, different kinds of spicy, numbing foods. Part of the reason why the food is like that in that region is, the climate, the weather, the local culture, the ethnicities of the people, and the mixings of the people from that region and other regions in Southeast Asia, all that kind of stuff. Like, it all goes into why the food is a certain way. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that you cannot get delicious Sichuan food in Shanghai. You definitely can. No problem there. But for your first time in China, especially if you land in Shanghai, you really should try local Shanghai food. It just makes sense. I always got a caveat. It's my opinion. You can do whatever you want. Now, I really want to emphasize this point here with a very, very, hopefully clear analogy of what I mean by this. So if I were a visitor to the United States, it's my very first time, and I'm flying to, let's say, Houston, Texas. Before I go to Houston, I would definitely Google what is the local food, and I would eat that. Let's say it's Texas barbecue. What I wouldn't do is I wouldn't show up in Houston and then look around and then, let's say, pick a Boston bread bowl sourdough clam chowder. I wouldn't do that. I don't think anybody would do that. So I don't know why people would do that when they come to China. It just doesn't make sense to me at all logically in my head. It really doesn't. But what I think is that, like I said before, a lot of people, Westerners in particular, see China as a monolith. They think it's all China, it's all Chinese food. Whereas they wouldn't see that or think that when they're talking about America. If I went to Houston and every day I ate clam chowder out of a sourdough bread bowl, and then I said, American food is terrible, you'd rightfully think I'm insane, right? Like, please comment if I'm wrong. I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this. Give me a hot take here. But I think you would think I'm insane. And if I was a vlogger, an influencer, and I did that, people would like be up in arms and be like, what are you doing? Why are you eating that food every single day? If she or any of these people are eating like just kind of random Chinese food picked out of a hat or just randomly walking down the street, China has a lot of good food. They're definitely have a pretty good chance that they will find some good food. But at the same time, they're not going to probably land on something indicative to the place that they're at. And it won't be very, I would say, informative or educational for their audience. And maybe people don't care about being informed or educated these days. I don't know. Again, I want to emphasize I'm not picking on her or her channel. This is a general trend I'm seeing. She just vocalized it, okay? Almost all of these channels, they're showing vloggers go to like random tourist trap. It's really no wonder that they think the food is A, expensive, and B, not that great. These guys pay like 38 RMB for miniature dumplings. It's wild. So anyway, my first bit of advice for any future vlogger, influencer, or just regular ass person coming to China for the first time, look up what cities you're going to go to, and Google like what is the local delicacy of this place. Don't wait till you get to China, because then you have to Bing it. Prepare ahead of time, more knowledgeable, more informed, and you can inform your audience if you are a vlogger. I just want better content, guys. That's all I want. I want better content. And people watching my channel, they probably say, yeah, we want better content out of you too, Eric. You've been going at this for like 6 years and you're still making crap. So, who are you to talk? So I'm not a very smart man. I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at making clickbait and getting people to watch my videos. I understand that you guys are better at it than me. But what I personally feel is that like some of these titles, some of this clickbait makes kind of, I guess you could say like othering China, further perpetuating stereotypes. You've already seen what it looks like. You've been here. I mean, obviously you record the video and then later you got to edit it and then you got to add the thumbnails and you got to make these decisions, right? And I feel like, even though the content of the video might be like, hey, China's actually, not so bad. The thumbnails, they still kind of drive me up the wall, drive me batty. They make me think like, hey, if I don't click on this and I'm just a random person, maybe already have some negative biases towards China, I will probably see this and be like, yep, China's pretty bad. When actually, you've been here and you realize it's not quite so bad. And then another thing I just really want to touch on real quick is I've seen, a couple vloggers already talk about how stressful it is to get into China, which, I mean, like, come on. It's not stressful at all. I can't speak for you. Maybe you were stressed out. But these are supposedly like seasoned travelers, right? They've been all around the world. And I've been in and out of China hundreds of times at least. And I've never had any experience besides like utmost courtesy, professionalism, coming from like the customs or immigration officers, border officers. From my experience, like I've probably the most I've ever been stressed out going into a country is in the United States of America, where you have officers with like bulletproof vests and helmets and guns standing around, asking you a bunch of questions. And like, I don't think, from my experience, I've ever seen on YouTube a channel where somebody's like, I felt so stressed, it's so hard to get into America, right? Like for me personally, I feel way more stressed out every time I go to America because of it's like a militarized border and it's just completely nutty there, right? Where they're welcoming, they're friendly, they ask you, hey, what are you doing in China? Like, hey, I'm traveling or working, whatever the case may be. And they're going to be very happy and friendly and like welcome you. And that's kind of like the case for all of China. People are very welcoming and friendly in China from the moment you arrive. So I don't want to discount anybody's experience. It maybe was stressful for them, but again, it kind of like is more like fear mongering and like, I get it. You want the clicks. I understand you want the clicks. You want the money. You got to get that paper, but there's got to be a better way, people. At least be honest. Maybe you are being honest. I'm all for vloggers. I'm all for regular ass travelers, people without a camera and without a fan base coming to China. I want everybody to come see what it's all about firsthand. I want everybody to experience it. I've had a fantastic decade plus in China where I've had a career, friends, family, dog, whatever you want to call it. I've had it in China. I personally think it's really great if more people come to China. I think it's great if the world is more connected, more open, more friendly. But I don't think it's great if, even people who are trying to be more connected, trying to be more open, trying to be more friendly, want to also at the same time kind of further extend those stereotypes and othering of China. I think it's not ideal. Again, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that. So now that I've covered kind of my gripes about all these foreign vloggers coming to China, let's talk about where maybe you should go while you're in China, besides where those people go. Some hopefully better, more interesting, exciting places. And also let's talk about a couple of other YouTube travelers in China who make really good content and can give you a more in-depth, nuanced take about China and what China's actually like. Somebody who's been here for more than 144 hours. So first I'll tell you where you should go. My advice to you is when you come to China, you go to Yunnan. Yunnan. If you don't know about Yunnan, again, prepare in advance, look it up. In Yunnan, you can go to Shangri-La, you can go to Dali, Shaxi, which is the place no other vloggers go, and maybe someday I'll put up a video about Shaxi. I've got tons of video from there. Xishuangbanna, I lived there for a couple years. All these places that you've never heard of that are just incredible places for tourism. You know what? Your first time in China, don't even go to Beijing and Shanghai, really. Skip it. Just go to Yunnan. You've got mountain hikes, you've got monkeys, you've got jungles, you've got everything in one province, and it's incredible. Honestly, Yunnan's probably one of the best travel destinations in the entire world, and it's kind of like a secret travel destination, so you heard it here first, folks. But again, by all means, come to Shanghai. Probably your first port of entry will be Shanghai or Beijing. So, you fly there. You might as well stay a couple days. Check it out. But you can, if you do go to Shanghai, watch this video here or in the description. It's got a link about some other places you could go while you are in Shanghai that are a little bit more interesting than East Nanjing Road. Where else could you go while you're in China? You can go to Qinghai. Qinghai, a little bit more off the beaten path, a little bit more difficult to kind of get to and experience, but I guarantee you that if you do go there, it will be well worth your time and it will be very rewarding. Now, let's face it, a lot of Chinese cities, especially if you cannot read Chinese, you don't know Chinese culture or history or language, it can be a little same every Chinese city. Just looks like every other Chinese city to you. Maybe if you do want to go not too far from your point of arrival, and you do still want to get out of the cities, the big cities, the famous cities, you could still go to like somewhere like Fujian province, maybe go see some Tulo, which you may have seen in the movie Mulan from Disney. They're kind of like really cool round houses and communities. You can go to also in Fujian, you can go to like Xiamen, a seaside city, which is really pretty. You can go see some islands while you're down there. Fuzhou, a lot of cool places I recommend. And there won't be so many foreigners there or foreign vloggers, so you can have some really unique, original content. And again, remember, look up what's the local food before you go. Or if you really like the ancient towns, like maybe you saw the ancient towns on all these vloggers' videos. They're in Shanghai, going to the ancient town in Shanghai. Hey, go to a real ancient town away from Shanghai, away from the metro. If you can take the subway to the ancient town, probably not that great, to be honest. Now, you can go to like Jinyuan. Amazing place, my absolute favorite ancient town in China. You go to Furong Village, which is another incredible place with a waterfall right in the middle of town. You can even go to Fenghuang. There's a lot of ancient towns. I have some videos on this channel. I'm sure you can also find other videos. I'll put in the description some places you can go. Just suggestions. You can Google them yourself. Or if you're in China already, Bing it, like I said. Now, the thing about China is China has incredible tourist infrastructure. You might not believe me because you can't read Chinese, you can't speak Chinese, you can't understand Chinese, but it actually does. There's high-speed rail, there's planes, there's buses, there's all kinds of stuff to get you to the really, really great tourist stuff all over China. China's domestic tourism industry is very, very highly developed. Chinese people travel all over the world, but they also travel extensively within China. As long as you can prepare a little bit, you can definitely find how to get to different places. You won't have a problem with that. And I highly recommend you, again, get off the beaten path a little bit to make some just more interesting content. Please, I beg of you. It's worth it. I promise you. Now, I really briefly want to recommend 2 YouTube channels that will give you a much more thorough, much more in-depth, much more nuanced look at China, life in China. Especially, you should probably hear a Chinese voice. There's lots of good Chinese YouTube channels. One that's very popular, you might have already seen it, is Little Chinese Everywhere. She makes content all around China. Very, very good, and you can actually see things from a Chinese perspective. The other channel I'd recommend would be The China Traveler, which is run by Stu. I met him a couple times, one time. He's a good dude. He speaks Chinese great. Very, very good content all around China once again. And he's been in China for a long, long time. Even has a Chinese green card. So you're going to get a little bit more interesting look at actual life in China and traveling in China. More again than like, let's say like eating Sichuan chili peppers in Shanghai or whatever. Or the other guy, Ken, he had a jjajangmian in the subway station when he first got to China, which it's fine if they like it. More power to them. I want to end this video with 2 things. First of all, I want to make it clear I'm not trying to gatekeep China. I'm not trying to say this is how you should enjoy China or experience China. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't come to China. I think you should come and experience it for yourself. All I'm saying is that I hope that future vloggers, influencers, or general travelers come to China with a little bit of a basic knowledge of what this place actually is, what it's like. Even if that just means Googling, I'm going to be in Beijing, what is the local Beijing food? I'm going to be in Guangdong, what is local Guangdong food? I'm going to be in Shanghai, what's local Shanghai food? And then trying that, because if you're just picking and choosing at random, you're going to have a worse experience. And you might even say Chinese food is not good, which is just mind-blowing. I would hope that anybody who travels anywhere would just like to have a better understanding of the place before they came, and then come to the place, and then experience the place, and then having an even better understanding of the place once they left, especially if they're going to share it on the internet. My final point is that if you made it all the way to the end and you would like to see some content from me about my favorite places in China, please leave a comment and let me know that you want to see that. Because I have tons of videos and experiences from 12 years in China, and it's just like sitting there on my hard drive, wasting away, doing nothing. I can make some like top 5 old towns in China or top 5 provinces to visit or things like that. If you want to see, I can give you travel recommendations with more details about every single province in the country. Honestly, I generally speaking have a hard time understanding YouTube and what the audience on YouTube actually really wants to see. Clearly, from my view counts, I don't really know what it is people want. But thank you for watching. Remember, be nice to everybody, including all the people shared, mentioned, discussed here. Any vloggers in China, traveling, be nice, of course. I have nothing against any of them. All I'm saying is I'm tired of seeing the same content over and over and over again in my YouTube feed. Although I suppose it's mostly my fault for clicking on it and then I guess teaching Google and teaching YouTube that I like it because I clicked on it. So it's probably all my fault. It always is.